Got a question. Now, I watched the 1999 Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, which is the national championship game, and I will go to my grave believing Florida State was the better team. Anytime you take two big shots, huge shots, one of them was a touchdown, another was a big play, and the defense and that team could have tucked it in because offensively Florida State was doing nothing. But that's what fourth quarter conditioning is about. That's what pride, that's what heart's about. Florida State fought for 4 quarters, got back in the game, really had several chances the entire game to win, but Marcus Alston, rest in peace, went for it all to Laveranues Cole's interception. They lost. But I watched that game, and then I watched the 2000 Florida State Clemson game, which Florida State had lost to Miami, and they were really starting to come into their own as a team and just hit that stride, and they destroyed Clemson. And so I got to thinking, since Bobby Bowden got there and he signed Ron Simmons, like Florida State played in major bowl games. So Florida State was being compensated for their season, and that was in the 80s. Then they brought in Dion and Sammy Smith in that class, and that's when the streak started, of 14 straight 10-win and top 4 finishes. And it got me thinking, why did Florida State administration not think ahead of the curve as far as facilities and stadium? Because obviously Doak went to another level. And again, I'm one of the fans that's very disappointed we're dropping back to 60,000. I think it's very easy to get Doak to 90,000. My biggest complaint is that you're mad about attendance. Well, when Florida State's not good in the post-Bowden era and even in the post-Jimbo Fisher era, when they're not good and they don't have players playing, you're not playing for national championships or you're not playing for conference championship and players going for major awards, you can't rely on the ACC. Obviously, Florida, Clemson, and Miami will bring a draw, but if you don't have a wonderful non-conference schedule, Duke and Georgia Tech and NC State, Boston College are just not going to do it. To me, Oklahoma and USC are the last truly huge opponents to come to Doak Campbell Stadium. 1998, Florida State played USC. 2011, I want to say, Florida State played Oklahoma at Doak, besides Notre Dame. So you're not giving our fans much to work on there. But the question I'm thinking about, in the dominant run when Florida State joined the ACC, and really after they won the national championship, recruiting went to another level. And then Jimbo Fisher comes in, gets back 10 wins, beats Miami, beats Florida, should have won the ACC championship, but we were close but not there. Why weren't indoor practice facility and just where we want to be done sooner? Because we were making the money. Boosters and donors were giving money. You know, especially in the Bowden era, people would donate money because the team was winning. Your team was competing for a national championship. I remember James Coleman said on an interview, he was talking to Brian McFadden, I want to say, and he was talking about Bobby went and asked for indoor practice facility and was turned down. He said maybe he should have been like Jimbo, a little more persistent. But to me, Florida State got over on Bobby Bowden. If I look at all these coaches now, and you look at Kirby Smart now, the highest paid coach in college football since Nick Saban stepped down, the conversation shift, how much money Bowden should have made. I mean, we look at Nick Saban and you look at some of these other coaches and just look at Dabo Swinney, even look at Jimbo Fisher, and now look at our head coach, Mike Norvell. Is it fair to say that Florida State got over on Bobby Bowden just because of his age? Because obviously the next level of facilities was not there. And think about it, like I've said this in another video, what happened to Chris Ricks, what happened to the Darling twins, and as far as development and taking players to the next level. Because even after 2000, maybe they keep Marcus Alston because they tried to petition the NCAA to give him another year. But let's just say even with that season, 2002 was a national championship team, 03, 04, and if they don't change how they recruit defensive linemen, Maybe that continues to Jimbo Fisher get there because Bobby Bowden was able to get 9 wins. So the question becomes to me is, when the development dipped, and let's just say the right 2 assistants are hired on offense, I want to say the program still would have been good. But to me, the administration and powers to be at Florida State crippled Bobby Bowden. Now we look at it now when he was competing against the Bob Stoops and the Nick Sabans and the Urban Meyers, and even still competing against the Jim Tressels, the Pete Carrolls, he was really at a disadvantage. He really was. Florida State had got stale. Florida State was always ahead of the curve. They were out and about, the first ones. They were innovative, even though they still ran I formation. A lot of the offensive concepts we see today come from Charlie Ward and the fast break offense. So it just begs to differ. My question to you guys is, what do you think if Florida State gets the indoor facility in the early 2000s, make a lot of changes around the program as far as the facilities and as far as how they develop and recruit? Bowden could have won 2 or 3 more national championships, just my opinion, because the teams, if you go back and look at the roster in 02, 03 and 04, definitely Florida State was loaded. These teams are right behind 99, 93, 2013, 14, 96, 97, 89, 84. I want to say 84 or 86. Those teams are stacked. Those teams are loaded. And our administration hurt our head coach. Our AD and our presidents and our chancellors and all these people kind of really put Bowden in a bad spot. Then they blamed him and forced him out, which I don't agree with that. But it happened. But it's just my question. Think about that. When you really sit down and you take stock at how many major bowl games Florida State University played in, how many season openers, pigskin, kickoff classic they played in, where was that money going? I mean, obviously, Doak was upkept, and Doak was nice because Doak went to 84,000, 85,000. But you just beg to differ. Why was nobody focusing on facilities? Why was nobody turning the corner on cutting-edge technology and development? Bobby Bowden said himself he tried to hire Rick Trickett a couple of times. Why were we not thinking like SEC schools or Big Ten schools then? Bigger, better assistants. Because I guarantee you, if Bowden hires the right offensive coordinator who may have been a quarterback coach and got Mickey the tools he needed, easily could have developed into 2 or 3 more national championships. Just think about that. Even think about 2000, after the national championship. Even in 2002, Florida State had a bad year by our standard, but they played in the Sugar Bowl. And Chris Ricks plays, they win. 03, they were going into November against Clemson, the number 3 ranked team in the country. And it wouldn't have been no split national title between LSU and USC because they would have played for it and won it. So it just begs to differ. Why did Florida State do Bobby Bowden like that? Really, as much as he meant to this program, he should have been a $1 million, $2, $3 million head coach then. And we should have been pouring into facilities. We should have already had a standalone football facility. We should have already had an indoor practice facility. This team played they played for the national championship in 96, 1 loss in 97, 98 national championship they played in. They played in and won, went undefeated in 99 and 2000. They played for the national championship. So it begs to differ. Where was all that money? Where was all that push for facilities? So just a question, man. Just something I want y'all to think about. The big what if. What if we would have already had the facilities in the early 2000s? What if we would have already had the cutting edge development technology? Bobby definitely could have went out with a couple more national championships and getting us to the point where we're there. So just something to think about. You guys have a wonderful day.